It's Tiffany Mitchell and Elena Coates. Coach, can you give us an opening statement on the matchup against Syracuse?
Well, we're excited, to play in the second round at home, and obviously, we're looking forward to playing Syracuse, a team that we faced a few months ago and edged out a victory. So hopefully we'll play better basketball and put a product on the floor that we all can be proud of.
Thank you, Coach. Questions for the student athletes? In the back?
Tiffany and Elena, when you look back at the first matchup at Syracuse early this season in the Bahamas, how much stock do you put in that game, given the location and everything else that was around it, and how different that was compared to what you're going to face tomorrow night?
I think we're two completely different teams than where we were in the Bahamas. That's the first team that played us in the sagging zone that we've seen all season. But I think we've seen other matchups like that these past couple games. So I think we have a better chance of, know a better way of handling that this time around.
Question on the right side.
Elena, the first matchup, they really kind of combated you guys in the low post. They rebound really well still. What kind of a game are you expecting down low tomorrow?
We're expecting a lot of physicality. It's just something that we've been dealing with all season, and it's something that we're prepared for and that we're going to prepare for, and we're just going to make sure that we keep them off the boards and just do what we need to do down in the paint.
Question in the back on TV.
Tiffany, watching Syracuse last night in that matchup, what did you take away from what the Orange did, and how does that help going into Sunday's game?
We just know they take a lot of quick shots, so we just have to be prepared to, defend a shot on any catch with anybody pretty much, and like you said, keep them off the boards because they're really a tenacious team on the offensive end, going in for rebounds.
Question up front.
Last night they got a lot of contributions from their guards. Brianna Day didn't have that good of a game. Is that kind of a new weapon or a weapon that maybe you guys didn't see in the Bahamas, their guards being so effective?
I think their guards were effective in the Bahamas, but was it Brianna Day or Brianna? Yeah, she had a lot of offensive rebounds. So, their guards miss a lot of shots at the rim, and that's where she comes in, kind of their garbage man, and picks them up. So we just have to do a better job of boxing her out and putting a body on her.
Question in the middle.
For either of you, last night, immediately after the game, the players said they were excited for the rematch. How excited are y'all just to get it, knowing how excited they are as well?
We're very excited. We know we didn't play our best basketball in the Bahamas against them, and we're just ready for that rematch so we can prove that we are a better team now than we were then.
Question on TV in the back.
Tiffany, do you feel like there's any pressure on you for this game, knowing that first round you didn't have a game that you would like to have had?
Not really. I think my teammates and my coaches have enough confidence in me knowing that even though I didn't have one of the best games I did yesterday, I have a pretty better game this game coming up, and I'll bounce back.
Question up front.
I can attest to that.
Elena, how much do you think that close game in the Bahamas, the Duke game, games like that, kind of forged this team into the team that we saw in the SEC season and that we're seeing right now? How important was it to go through those kind of experiences?
It was very important. It made us realize that there are different levels of basketball out there, and we really needed to experience them in order for us to grow and to progress in the right direction, and just to find ways to be able to handle situations like that and be able to come out on top into those type of games.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Thank you, ladies. Questions for Coach Staley? In the back on TV.
Coach, I know you and Syracuse played a few months ago, but what did you take away from what you saw, what they did last night? How do they look different? And do you anticipate them attacking you any differently based on what you saw in their first tournament round game against Nebraska?
Well, I think they'll be, pretty similar to what they were from an offensive standpoint against Nebraska. I think defensively they'll probably be a little bit different. I think for the most part, what they did to us in the Bahamas worked for them. So, maybe they'll have the same type of game plan and, being in a collapsing zone. If they do decide to play man, I think we'll be prepared, for whatever style of play that they choose to use against us.
Question in the middle.
Quentin Hillsman said last night that he's looking forward to the rowdy crowd. He's looking forward to the challenge of playing. How do you impart to your student athletes that, how much of a challenge and opportunity that Syracuse is taking this game?
Well, for us, we're really focused in on us. We have goals set out. Syracuse just happens to be our opponent. So for us, we're going to approach it the same way. We are, have to really focus in on the task at hand, which is, being able to do what we've done all season long. I think our crowd will create an atmosphere that, it's exciting for any, opponent or our team, but I'm totally happy that we're playing at home, so our crowd can get involved because they've been, truly amazing throughout this entire season.
Question on TV in the back.
Coach, kind of on that same note, you guys obviously have a huge home court advantage, but how much more of an advantage is it when you're playing a team that really hasn't experienced that type of atmosphere before?
I don't know. Maybe they have. I think they play in the ACC, so I'm quite sure they played Notre Dame and the likes, and they've played in front of big crowds. For us, it is, putting on an old shoe because we're used to playing with a lot of people in the stands, and hopefully, our fans will create an environment where it's difficult for them to, relay the point guard to relay the play call, for the coach to relay the play call, for them to, run their stuff as smoothly as possible.
Question up front.
Dawn, you look at the scouting reports, like going to the Bahamas where you knew you were going to play them. Now you kind of have a short turnaround to play. What's the difference in a scouting report in the regular season as opposed to this time of year?
Well, in the regular season, we had a shoot around to prepare for them. Here, we at least have a day and a half to prepare for them. Obviously they are, a little bit different, from what they're doing. They're a little bit more aggressive than they were, just pressing, a lot more. They're a little bit different in that, when you lose someone like, a Henderson, it shortens your rotations a little bit, and. I think, with Syracuse, they'll come up with some kind of game plan that will combat, anything that we're trying to do. So, for us, thankfully we played a really good non-conference schedule, and, thankfully we play in the best conference in the country. So I think we'll be prepared for whatever they throw at us.
Question in the back.
Dawn, I know you guys have seen a lot of zone all year. Is there anything particularly unique about the way Syracuse plays it?
Well, the way that they've played it, and I haven't seen them play it the way they have played us in the Bahamas, where they just really, stayed committed to packing it in and not give our post players any room to operate down there. And they did a really good job boxing out. And what we did was we knocked down open shots. I thought Tina Roy did a great job in the second half when we played against them, opening the floor up. I thought Tiffany Mitchell in the first half, hit some threes for us. I think she hit 3 of them. So what we're going to have to do, whether they're in the zone or man, is knock down open shots. And we still have to get the ball into the paint. The more outside shots we hit, the better it is going to be for our length inside.
Question on the back in TV.
Coach, in the SEC tournament with Tiffany, after she had a quiet game against LSU, the next game she comes out, puts up some big numbers, really seems to have just a different feel. How do you sort of get that same response after maybe a sluggish performance in round 1 to sort of get that same outcome in her second go-around here at home?
Well, Tiffany Mitchell is the ultimate competitor. Obviously she puts a lot of time and effort into, being the player that she's become. And, good players always find a way to have an impact. And sometimes that impact is on both sides of the ball. So we've seen this before where she hasn't performed to best of her capabilities, but we also have seen what she's done, the following game. So we anticipate her getting back on the right track and helping us get a second round win in the NCAA tournament.
Question up front.
Dawn, back when you played these guys in November, you thought, you knew kind of what your team was going to be about, but yet you hadn't seen everything unfold. What did you learn about your club in a tight game like that? How much did it lead to what we saw the rest of the season?
Well, I thought that was our first test of being resilient, just finding a way to win a basketball game. Although it was, not the prettiest, we found ways. And, for us, all season long, this team has, really been able to make adjustments and, figure out how you win. And it's going to take that kind of effort as we take on Syracuse again. In the second round, it's probably going to take that effort if we want to advance, past the second round.
Up front.
Just sticking with that, I mean, how good a sign was that for you, or like a checklist that you could check off and say, okay, we can do this if we're pressed. I don't have to work on this going forward.
You have a tendency as a coach to rely on your experienced players. They have been through that, and I was fairly calm in the Bahamas because we were down by I think as many as 12 at one point. But it just takes time. We're going to get Syracuse's best effort. For us, the game is 40 minutes, and when we're able to, use our depth, it pays off for us. So, for me, obviously it's a big game. Our players want to advance, and we're not looking, past Syracuse, but, they are a formidable opponent that we look forward to playing here at home.
In the back on TV.
Coach, I know we've talked about this a few times, but now it really is the end here at Colonial Life Arena for Elisa Welsh and Ella Mibium and Olivia Gaines. And talking with them last night, I think it started to hit them a little bit that this really is the end. Do you have to coach them any differently tomorrow to help manage their emotions going into their final home game ever here inside the CLA?
No, but I've asked them all season long to just stay in character, so I have to adhere to what I'm asking them to do, and I have to stay in character. Obviously, our fans put the seniors in a great position to even be playing here in Colonial Life Arena in the first and second rounds. I'm quite sure they want to send them off with the bang by having an incredible crowd, something that they've been used to all season long. I'd be disappointed if, only 2,000 people show up, which I don't think will happen. But it is the end for them. They have made an incredible impact, not only on our team, but this community and this university for being, the epitome of what student athletes are supposed to be.
Any more questions for Coach Staley? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.